What is up, Jabroni? JJ back here from Run Pure Bets, talking a little Major League Baseball. Saturday, April 23rd. Yeah, kind of sucks, right? The Detroit game yesterday got postponed. Felt like we got really good on the number there early. Now I look at the line. I guess we'll get to that game in a bit, but I look at that line now. It's 135. I mean, it's not terrible. I'm not a fan of targeting games during doubleheaders, though. I do feel like that adds a little bit of added variance to things. With that said, the Rockies lineup is missing at minimum Blackman today. So, there's that. But I still, obviously the pitching matchup is still heavily in favor of Detroit on my end. But I much preferred it at 130 and, like I said, 120 when I got it early yesterday. But we'll get to that game. But we'll start with Yankees and the Guardians, Nestor Cortes and Cal Quantrill. So Cortes has been rather incredible to start, right? I mean, the dude's last start, what do you have, 13 Ks, something silly in like 6 innings. Left-hander, right? He's got electric stuff. And look, he gets a decently watered down lineup today, getting to face the Guardians. However, Jose Ramirez has been starting off really hot. It's nice to see him kind of get back into his normal flow, right? But I just think it's another good matchup for Cortes here. I just don't love it. Obviously, the price isn't ideal, so it doesn't. It's hard to love back in the Yankees in this spot, especially since the Guardians have been hitting. And look, Cortes is probably due for a little bit of regression. When will that come? I guess it's tough to say, but and of course, my mouse is giving me issues. So he hasn't even given up a run all season. It's actually been incredible for him. But like I said, that's probably due to stop, if you will. So I'm not looking to target, the Yanks in this spot, not at the fat number. It's a good spot for them overall, but I do think the number's right. And as for the total, it's a little breezy here in New York. So total makes sense. Here's the thing: I'm not a Cal Quantrill guy. He's a guy that you could watch him go 3-4 innings where he gets his ground balls and he maneuvers through innings, but then he seems to find himself in blow up innings. And this is not the team to for him to face. Then there's this little COVID issue that he's having, or he's off the COVID issue. But just a lot of variables in this game. So I'm off this game, but best of luck. Nats and Giants, another interesting pitching matchup. So Alex Wood's off to a good start as well this year. But and then even here, he draws a lineup from the Nats. That's, kind of blah. The Nats better bats. At least Soto obviously comes from the left side. Josh Bell, he can come from, he's a switch hitter, but typically been better from the left side. So, he should be able to, you would figure, go up and down through this lineup. But Nats have been pesky as well. And on the Giants, on the Nats and Aaron Sanchez, it's kind of surprising this dude's still in the league. Doesn't strike guys out. He's got terrible reverse splits against right-handed bats. Interestingly enough, the Giants stack lefties against him. So interested to see how this plays out. But another game, do you want to lay, 165 with a West Coast team at a 1:00 game? It's not my taste personally, but it'll be a pass for me. Total seems about right at 8. So, no true wiggle room there on my end. And then we get to the Tigers-Rockies game, right? The game that, we're going to give out for yesterday. So I don't need to go too much into this game because I broke it down yesterday. But again, the doubleheader to me adds a little bit of variance where I don't love it. If I got this, if this peaked down to 125, 130, I'd probably jump at it. It likely won't. At least not before game time with it being less than an hour away. What was I going to say? This fucking keyboard's giving me issues. You hate to see it. So yeah, ultimately, I can't blame anybody for betting the Tigers here because I would have bet them if they were 130 or better. You got to stay disciplined though, right? You can't just kind of maneuver numbers. At 130 they're a good play. At 135 they're not. For me, it's up past 145. So now you're down to about 10 cents of an edge or a little over 10 cents of an edge. And I don't really like to bet games like that where I only feel like I have that much of an edge. I typically like 15 cents or more. Again, it's somewhat subjective, right? But for me, I'll pass on that game now with the new line, what it is. Let me see. So, what's up, Matt? Yes, this mouse. I'm gonna fucking stab this. Yeah, I don't know what is going on. Imagine having mouse issues. Yeah, I can't even highlight comments. Sorry, guys. Okay, so yeah, you hate to see. Oh, there we go. We got the click working again. Hold, please. Oh no, I might not be able to get it off. Guys, we might be in trouble. This Joey Work comment might be on the rest of the show. Talk about hate to see it. Yeah, we're stuck. Joey Work, that comment's going to be there all video long. You really do hate to see it. Hold on. Let's try something else. Yeah, no. We're stuck. We're stuck, folks. I don't know how I clicked it because my mouse isn't working, at least not clicking. And no, can't do anything. You really hate to see it. This is brutal. This is brutal, folks. All right. Anyway, so let's go on to the next game. Just kind of got to go with the flow, right? All right. So Cubs, Pirates. Kyle Hendricks, Zach Thompson. Now, Hendricks is off to a pretty poor start for him. He's getting his Ks, but he's been giving up runs and walks. This is a decent spot for him against his Pirates lineup. However, you got that wind blown out of Wrigley, right? That's never fun. Can these teams hit through it, though? I mean, right? These are two below average hitting teams, at least projected to be this season. It's not like they've been blistering the ball early on either. I mean, obviously Suzuki has, but outside of him, hasn't been much. I can't bet this under, though. I'll tell you that I hate betting totals at Wrigley when the wind's blown out anyway, whether it's over or under. I just feel like it always it never really goes like according to plan, no matter what. So yeah, I'm not going to mess with the total there. As for the game, to lay 160 with the Cubs here, not super ideal. I mean, Hendricks definitely have a big pitching matchup in favor of the Cubs. I mean, however, is there something wrong with Hendricks? Like, that's kind of hard to figure out right now. He hasn't looked himself. Now, granted, I think he started out pretty poorly last year as well, and then went through like a torrid stretch for like 2.5 months. So, maybe, no need to overreact yet. But it's all, like I said, always tough when you see a few pitchers like Hendricks who have been good for quite a few seasons now and they have a few rough starts early on. Is it mechanics? Is it, their technique? Is it the velo? But either way, easy pass for me on that game. Phillies, Brewers. So Zach Wheeler, Adrian Hauser. This line's seeing some dip south in favor of the Brewers. Wheeler's burned me before this season, I believe. I could be wrong, but Wheeler is much like Hendricks is due for some progression, or progression to the mean, if you will. And Hauser's a decent arm. He's not great. I just think this line's super soft. Like I think it this would probably be my strongest lead in the video. I won't bet it at 145. If this got down to 135, I would lay the first five with Philly at slight dog money. I think you can if you'd like, because I do think this price is now dipped into almost favorable range for me. To lay that first five with Philly, but Wheeler's another one. Like, what's wrong with him? Is there something going on with his mechanics? But like I said, this number has seen some steam south, and I do think it's getting pretty close to playable to lay the first five with Philly. Okay, let me see, guys. Let me give this a shot. Let me try to get the pork roll comment off. Nope. Hate to see it. Anybody watching that's like, oh, why is the pork roll, egg, and cheese up there? Yeah, my clicker on my mouse is not working. But we just go with the flow. Okay, so next game up. Twins, White Sox, Dylan Bundy, Vince Velasquez. Wow, this is quite an interesting pitching matchup, right? I think, so first of all, I'm not a Vince Velasquez guy anyway. This line feels a little cheap, though, doesn't it? And when I say cheap in favor of the White Sox. This line, to me, should be closer to a pick 'em. But I'd like this a little more. Like, for me, it's a complete coin flip. So 10 cents again is really where you're at. If this got to plus 115, I would definitely play the White Sox. I don't know if it'll get there. Dylan Bundy is a guy that's often had a pretty decent reverse splits, where he's just better versus lefties. At least he's been for a few years of his career. And we know about the White Sox big righties up and down that lineup. Pass for me, but again, slight lean White Sox. Athletics Rangers. So Frankie Montez and Martin Perez. This line is like uber soft. And I know Oakland has had a decent start to the season, but to be honest, like it's hard. Like they're like to me like they're like the Rockies right now. Like it's hard to really understand like or rationalize if the data is for real with them, right? Like I feel like they've been hitting well. Texas has been hitting well too, but Texas got a decent amount of offseason acquisitions. I'm not a big Martin Perez guy though. I think the dude gets railed versus righties. And I've been a Frankie Montez guy. That's kind of why I think this line's fairly soft at 130, but you're not going to make a lot of money this year betting Oakland at 130 against good teams or against decent teams for that matter. So it's going to be a pass for me. I would lean Oakland though. And here's going to be a best bet for me. So Houston versus the Blue Jays. Oh, I just realized I'm not going to be able to type. LOL. Can't type. Won't be able to type the plays, folks. You just hate to see it. Okay, so since I can't type it, I'll just obviously say it. It's going to be Houston here, plus 100. So I've said this before. There's a few Houston starters that I like, and one of them is your kitty. If anytime this year, I don't care who the team is, I don't care who they're pitch, I don't care who they're playing, who they're pitching against. If you're going to be able to get your kitty at a pick'em or better at home, at plus 100 or better at home, it's borderline an auto play. I know Manoah's been great, and he's absolutely brutal versus right-handed bats. And Houston obviously has mostly right-handed bats, at least they're bigger bats. But again, you're talking a team that's got a really good bullpen, a team that's got a really good lineup up and down. Like there are certain advantages here that Toronto has, but there are also certain advantages that Houston has. This line's super cheap. So yeah, the undoubted best bet, Houston Astros, plus 100. I know they didn't look good yesterday. I know they haven't been playing great baseball. But again, it's a really good value spot. I really like your kitty, and the fact that we're getting that slight dog price. I mean, an even price of plus 100. Love the spot. Reds, Cardinals, Tyler Mahle, Dakota Hudson. I am not a Dakota Hudson guy, but the Reds are just brutal to watch hitting the baseball. Tyler Mahle, this is a good spot for the Reds. It's a small price. And again, the spot makes sense, but and again, the idea of fading Hudson. So Dakota Hudson's had really good home road splits over the last few years, where he's very pitched typically poorly on the road and good at home. Again, you're getting a perfect storm here of collisions in favor of the Reds with Mahle. But thank you, Bobby. See, Bobby's got it. Bobby's got it covered. You're getting that perfect storm here in favor of the Reds. But let's see, typing. Nope. But again, how often this year are you going to want to bet the Reds against a decent team as a favorite? I just can't imagine that's going to be profitable for you all season long. Again, I don't mind doing it. Like obviously with the Tigers, Rockies, like I don't think the Rockies are a good team. So I think the Cardinals are a decent team. So again, you're just not going to make money long term betting a team like the Reds as a small favorite all season long. And not to say that if you just faded these spots all season, you'd make money either. I just think it'll wind up being a net loss on both ends because of the VIG. Rays, Red Sox. I don't have the pitching matchup in front of me here, and I can't type on this keyboard. Oh, you know what? No, yeah, I don't have it. Yeah. Well, maybe I do. Hold on. Reds. Not Reds. Idiot. It's Firestone against Whitlock. Okay. I could do something with that. So the Red Sox, as I've mentioned, has been a thorn in my side this year. I know it's early, but I think I'm like 0-4, 0-5 backing them this year. So yeah, there's that. The pitching matchups, I guess it certainly favors Tampa. I'd like Firestone. I don't think he's excellent, but Whitlock's got a lot of question marks as well. So to me, this line probably could be a little bigger in favor of the Rays. But again, I haven't visualized the Red Sox very good this season or very well this year. So take that with a grain of salt. So I don't call this a pass. Tigers Rockies game 2. It's always tough to handicap a second game because you don't know what the lineup's going to look like. At least like when you don't know a lineup for a single game, like you just have an idea that okay, maybe they'll sit one or two guys. At minimum, we know Charlie Blackmon will be back in the lineup for Colorado, but how they handle lineups here is interesting. And then the bullpen for game one, right? Like if one team has their best pen arms used, they're not going to likely use them again in the second game. That's why I don't like betting doubleheaders. I just think there's too much added variance in them, especially the second game of a doubleheader. Not to say I'll never do it. I just, there's a lot of added variables that I just don't like to mess with. So I'm just going to pass in that game entirely. Ian Anderson and Eliza Hernandez, Braves, Marlins. Ian Hernandez, very good start last time out. Looked like himself again. And now he's starting to get the market respect again. So this is a typical line we're used to seeing for him, or we've seen from him. To me, this line's a good line. The total at 7.5 feels low for that Braves park. But again, it's a typical park where the ball carries in warm weather, and it typically does the opposite in colder weather. So the total's probably about right. I mean, I personally would have it at 8. So call it slight value there in terms of the over, but don't love it on my end. Astros first half seeing plus 110. You like? Oh, I'm just realizing. Oh, when my mouth's not working, I'm gonna be able to stop this video. Oh boy, buckle up, folks. Buckle the fuck up. Anyway, I guess we'll cross that bridge once we get there. Astros first half seeing plus 10. You like that better? You like that better for big advantage for the Astros bullpen? I don't think it's a big advantage. I think that first of all, the Jays have a really good bullpen, but so do the Astros. Plug from the wall. Yeah, the problem is it's on StreamYard, so it's not here specifically. But I guess we'll cross that bridge when we're there. Yeah, for me, it's the full game. I just prefer the full game picture for it. I know your kitty can eat innings when he looks like himself, and your kitty's also good, really good versus righties, and that's Toronto's most lineup as well. I prefer the full game overall. Houston, no bottom line. You love those bets, John. I don't think I've even seen those bets. But yeah, I mean, I can't mind it. I definitely can't mind it. So yeah, may the odds be ever in your favor. All right, so let's go to the next game. You know what's so odd is the clicking works between my tabs, but it's not working inside StreamYard, which is interesting. Okay, so Diamondbacks Mets, nice little thriller yesterday, right? I mean, the Mets kind of blew it. Had the lead, was like 5-1 in the 5th or the 6th, and then gave up like a 3-run homer and then a few solo shots, I think. Either way, that was another Edwin Diaz meltdown. Was it a 2-out? Was it 2-out 0-2 pitch? He gave up a home run to tie the game yesterday. Either way, it's battled back and still won. Trevor Williams on the hill for them today. I am not a Trevor Williams guy. But then again, how could anybody right now be a Humberto Castellanos guy either? This line is fair at 155 though, because the Diamondbacks are a tough team to back in any sense, and it is, but at the same time, it's still tough to love Trevor Williams. I mean, look, if you're laying this with the Mets today, God bless you. They could definitely win and definitely win the first 5, but total feels a bit high. I say this because, again, remember numbers in parks. These are 2 bad arms or below average arms, but this is a pretty high number for this park. So, call it a slight lean in favor of the under. Okay, next game up, Padres Dodgers. This will be my other best bet of the video. To me, it's similar. This is exactly an exact similar spot to above with the Astros and the Blue Jays. If I can get Yu Darvish at home against any National League team at plus 100 or better, it's just a practical auto fire. Now, I know Darvish hasn't looked good this year to start, but again, we'll call it progress to the mean. There could be some foundational issues there with his mechanics, but I guess that'll flesh itself out. But overall, I think you guys will see too in the middle of the season, you get Yu Darvish in a spot like this. There's not going to be many spots like this where Darvish is this price. Now, granted, of course, it's because they're playing the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are the cream of the crop in baseball these days. But Tyler Anderson, I'm also not a big fan of. A lefty that typically gets mauled versus right-handers. The Padres definitely have righties that can bother him. So, yeah, really like the spot here. You get a much better pitcher. And the Padres' pen is a bit underrated as well. I know they're still missing Tatis, but this is just an auto fire, or was an auto fire for that matter. So, yeah, other best bet, Padres plus 100, money line versus Dodgers. Noah Syndergaard, Spencer Watkins, Angels, Orioles. This is a huge line in favor of the Angels at minus 260. But again, when the Orioles play a decent right-hander, they typically stall. Like, even if they have innings that make that that get somewhere. They typically don't land or begin to get somewhere. They don't land. Noah Syndergaard's looked really good this year, or looked pretty good at least, right? So this line's way too big, though. So, call it a very slight lean, grabbing the 1.5 with Baltimore, or just taking them on the money line. But again, this season, when Baltimore plays right-handed pitching, don't watch the games because this team is brutal to watch. They will get guys on base. They have multiple black holes in their lineup. And look, the Angels are finding their stride a bit, right, with Ohtani as well. So yeah, not in love with anything in this game in particular. But yeah, gun to my head, I would bet the Orioles money line. Okay, so last but not least, the Mariners and the Royals. Matt Brash, Chris Bubik. Brash has looked really good, right? I mean, he's been like a dark horse to be one of the better pitchers in this rotation, even with Robbie Ray, right? So, the question is he getting too much respect here? This is a lot of respect on this line for him. But the Royals are definitely not anticipating to have a good year, for that matter, even a decent year. And the Mariners should be fine. They made a bunch of offseason acquisitions. I will say that much like anything else, like this park has played like a true pitcher's park this year. And again, maybe attributed to the baseball overall, right? We're just not getting runs thus far. Leave it to baseball to just continue to make the sport harder and harder to watch for casual fans or for casual non-fans, right? I don't know what the hell they're doing with the baseball, but I mean, make it smaller or do something so that we get a little more home runs and there's a little more action in these games, because it's pretty clear and evident a lot of people aren't watching baseball these days because they consider the sport boring. It takes too long. So they should be looking at ways to address those issues. And whatever the hell they did to the ball this year is the exact opposite of addressing those issues. But anyway, I think the line's a little padded in favor of Seattle, so I'll call it a slight lean in favor of the Royals and the under as well. So, but again, Bubik is extremely tough pitcher to watch for many reasons, and Seattle has righties that could bother him as well. But Bubik, between his walks and his hard contact rate, he gets himself out of jams. He actually has decent stuff to watch him pitch, but not the best spot for him. But again, with the way the line is at the numbers, what they are, call it a slight lean Royals. Okay, so that is a wrap. Folks, look, I hope you all gamble responsibly. Enjoy your Saturdays. I'll be back tomorrow. I got to figure out, because I'm not going to do the show tomorrow at the normal time, so I'll have to talk to Joey here about what we want to do for tomorrow. I mean, I might have to do it earlier, like it'll have to be maybe like 10:30-ish if I do it. So either way, you'll be able to watch it back to normal time. You would watch it. I just might record. We just might be recording it live earlier, or I might be recording it live earlier. But other than that, folks, yes, gamble responsibly. Stay safe as always. Run pure. Now the moment of truth. Can I actually end the broadcast? Oh boy. Oh, it happened for a second. This is brutal. I mean, you want to talk about things you hate to see. Why the fuck? I might have to close this. I might have to close this out and reopen it. Can I close it from here? We're back. And now I can end it. All right, guys. Have a good one.